Maybe you are trying to build a reading habit but you are really struggling with it, or maybe you are someone like me who gets into reading slumps very often and is not able to get out of it. Well, then I have 10 books for you which can take you out of your reading slump or make you a reader if you're trying to become one. The best thing about these books is that these are really small. Most of them are under 200 pages that you can finish in one day or a few hours. Let's kick off this video with the very first one, which is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. Now, this is a story about a man who is struggling in the Nazi camp and how he is able to come out of it, and basically his journey of finding himself and how he doesn't let the situation in the camp impact him in a way that changes his humanity. This one really touched my heart. Words or the sentences are really small, but still it's just 154 pages which you can easily finish in a day. Now let's talk about a light-hearted book, which has to be Pahiri by Pankaj Kapoor. It is one of my favorites. This one you can finish maybe in 2-3 hours. It's a story of an old woman who is living in her haveli, in her mansion in Lucknow, and since her son is living abroad, he's not able to live with her. She has to live alone, and she gets afraid in the afternoons and thinks that someday somebody is going to kill her. But then she gets a tenant, and then the story is all about the relationship between her and her tenant and her house help, which is a really touching one, a light-hearted one, and I really enjoyed it. If you ask me which is my favorite book, I cannot not take the name of this book, which is Animal Farm by George Orwell. When I started this booktube channel, that's when I had bought this book, and one of the main reasons behind buying this book was that it's really small. It's basically a satire based on, I think, the Russian Revolution, if I'm not wrong. The thing with this book was that, and I'm sure no matter who you are, where you live, when you are reading this book, you will find it relatable to the political situation in wherever you are, like I mentioned. So that's what I felt. Maybe it was based on a very old revolution, but it feels that it is very relevant in today's time also. Definitely pick this book up if you enjoy witty stories, if you enjoy sarcasm and things like that. Train to Pakistan by Khushwant Singh. I picked this book up when I was looking for a book set in India. Pakistan at that time was India. But what I did not know is that this is a story of the time when India and Pakistan were getting divided. So it's the situation of that time when everything is very hostile, especially in the border region. And it's a very heartbreaking story, I can say. To learn a lot about what was happening during that time, because I had very little idea about what was happening at that time, especially in this region that the book is set in. This one is just 190 pages long, so again a book that you can easily finish in one day. I just finished reading Eat That Frog, and I have made an entire video on the 10 things that I learned from this book. I'll leave a link of it at the end of this video so you can go and watch it if you're interested. But basically this book talks about how you can manage your tasks and get things done in your life instead of just procrastinating and just dreaming about things. It basically gives you some hacks and some time management tips. The next one is another favorite book of mine. Again, I had picked this book up because it's really small. It's Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka, and this is just 99 pages long, and again the sentences and the spacing and everything, it'll not feel like 99 pages at all. This is a story about a man who is really struggling in his career, and one fine day he turns into an insect, a very large insect, and the rest of the story is basically about how he deals with it, what he feels, and how his family treats him for becoming like that. And at the end of the story I felt very heavy. It will definitely make you think and question a few things in your life maybe. Definitely a very intriguing and again a very heavy book. Now, one of my favorite fiction writer is Neil Gaiman. I have read a lot of his works and I really love how he writes, the world he builds, And one of his books that I first read was Coraline. It is written for children, they say, but I don't think so. It has paranormal elements in it. So if you enjoy horror, then you can definitely go ahead and read this book. It will not scare you, but it will give you a creepy feeling. It's basically a story of a young girl who moves into a new house with her family, and since her parents cannot give her enough time, she goes around the house discovering different rooms and then finds a door, goes through it and gets into a different world, which isn't that good. It's a very engaging book, very fast paced, so you can easily finish it in one day. Now, if you are looking for a motivational book that will give you some life lessons and help you get through maybe a rough time of your life, then Tuesdays with Mori is a great book. You can see the size, it's really small. And as for the pages, it's 192 pages. It's a story of a teacher and his student, and they meet after a really long time when the teacher is not doing well. He is in his old age, and you can say the last time of his life, and this student goes to meet him every Tuesday and basically learn life lessons and different things, and they go down their memory lane. So we also get to read things from when they were teacher and student, basically. So it's really nice. It kind of has a story, has a flow, and it also teaches you things like a non-fiction book. So it's a really nice read. If you want to get into non-fiction but you feel it's boring, then this is one of those books that you can easily pick up and start with. If you are into spirituality or you want to get into spirituality, then Flowers on the Path is a book that you can pick up. If you enjoy watching videos of Sadhguru or anyone else who talks about Indian philosophy or spirituality, then I think you will really enjoy this book. This is basically very, very easy to read because it has very short chapters from different speeches or different articles maybe of Sadhguru, and his different thoughts and opinions on different things. For example, marriage, family relationships, things like that. And the last book that I want to recommend is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Now, this is one of the first books that I read when I started this YouTube channel. And that's the book that made me feel that non-fiction is not that bad. If you pick the right books, it can really teach you a lot of things. Now that I remember that book, I don't remember everything that I had read, so I really need to go back and reread it. But I remember it was so impactful because these are some things that are not taught in schools. You are not taught how to influence people, how to make friends. That's something you need to learn along the way, and it's very, very important. And again, you can finish this in one day. That's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.